All right, so this is Danny,
And Omar.
and I guess you can call this what social distancing edition for now. I guess.
Yeah, we're doing Zoom call. We've been on a little hiatus. There's been something in the news going on. I think it's called COVID.
Yeah,
Kind of
yeah,
kind of put things to
kind
to a
of,
stop.
kind of fucking stuff up.
Yeah, kind of destroyed, our little momentum. But we're gonna take a little break anyways, and then I guess the gods um put this in our way to make things even a little harder to get back going. And I think
Yeah,
our last episode was posted a while ago. So
yeah, and that was the was that Witcher?
no, the Keanu Reeves one,
Oh
which
yeah.
I think we did, but then like we didn't post it for a while. So
So it ended up working out for any late listeners, kind of thing.
yeah, so what are we getting into this episode? What did we decide to do?
Well, there's been a lot of trending great stuff on Netflix, especially with everything going on. But we decided to do the right thing and go watch Angel Has Fallen with Gerard Butler and Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, yeah. So it was like between this and I think we were talking Extraction, right?
Yeah,
And
with
I think we were
Thor.
just like we wanted something a little dumb to kind,
Yeah,
get our feet wet.
and I think you said you might have finished Extraction or no?
Like almost. I couldn't
Okay, yeah. Well,
get.
the only scenes I saw were the ones when we were testing out Zoom, and then I saw some of the action scenes, and just some of the scenes in general, and I was like, maybe Angel Has Fallen.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, Angel of Fallen's just like a easier watch, I would say. Like Extraction, they were trying to make it a good movie, you could say.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I just it didn't feel that way. Like I don't know. Like I just like my action movies to be a little dumb. And
yeah. Not too serious.
yeah, not too serious. And if it is serious, it at least has to be good. And
Okay, yeah, I could see that.
you know what I mean? Like and Extraction just wasn't, I didn't think it was good, but Angel Has Fallen isn't good either, but
I I like that, but I'm biased because I've liked all three pretty much.
well,
So
you did rank which one Olympus Has Fallen as your one of your top action movies in
yeah,
our
which
previous
which
podcast.
which will come up later. So
Yeah.
but
Okay.
yeah,
So
yeah. And you sent over the IMBD and Rotten Tomato stuff. Metacritic that didn't
uh,
do so well, right?
yeah, yeah. So the was it the Rotten Tomato? I think it was, what was it?
39.
39%. Yeah, the IMDb was 6.4,
Oh,
Metacritic 45, but 86% of Google liked it. So
and Google knows what they're doing.
yeah, the budget of the movie was 40 million. It made 147.5 million, which is kind of
So
crazy.
yeah, and I think the other ones were pretty successful in that right too. Like they definitely made money. So, but I'm
Yeah,
sure
so
they were scored as poorly.
yeah, I think the previous one actually, I think the Rotten Tomato was 27%.
Oof.
So yeah, it's and this one was number one and two. I mean, this one was box office number one for 2 weeks in a row.
Okay.
And it was the last time Gerard Butler was number one the box office since 300.
Which is a weird comeback kind of thing, like you would
Yeah,
think it would be like a different movie that would bring them back and be like, oh man, that movie was great. Joe Robert, number one on the list. It's like,
yeah,
Angel's Fallen. Yeah, probably a slow month.
yeah. I think it was. I think they did it over the, was it Labor Day weekend, or right, Labor Day or
Oh yeah, and
Memorial
then
Day? Oh
because
yeah,
that was
Labor
like
Day.
chapter 2, right? I think came out.
Yeah, and then it Chapter 2 beat it, but so
I didn't watch it
so let's, yeah, I didn't see it. Everyone told me not to watch it. So I saw it
because it was bad,
chapter
or
one. Yeah,
uh,
like they were like, don't waste your time watching it. Speaking of which, I saw it finally
okay,
during this break. All right, so let's talk about, since we've been on quarantine watch,
yeah,
day 177. It feels like. Um, so if I had a good question I wanted to ask, like, Danny,
yeah.
if the whole situation, everything going on was a movie, like what kind of style movie would you think this would be? Like would be a good movie if you made it? Like who would be in it? Who would you want directing it? Uh, so you go first.
Well, I thought of it more because it's felt so long, more of like a TV series potentially, maybe like a one season special, hopefully. But little vibes of maybe like The Walking. Dead, like before things go down potentially. But then because things are really weird still, maybe like directed by like J.J. Abrams or something.
So it'll
He's
just be
throwing
really
that,
confusing.
he's
And
throwing that like different spin on it. Um, yeah, and then not sure who I would want to cast in it, but probably the dude that played Spartacus.
Wait,
The,
the one who's alive?
yeah, the
Okay,
Ian, I
Weather
think,
Wizard. Okay.
or yeah, I forget the guy's name, but
Not
yeah,
Gerard Butler you're
no,
talking about.
no. He's too big, but yeah,
Yeah.
that was kind of like my thought of it. I was like, oh, it's getting like a little weird, and hopefully getting better. But I think JJ Abrams would be a good director on it.
Yeah, I like JJ. I mean, if he does like a Star Wars take on it, he'll just like pick The Walking Dead and just redo it.
Pretty
Uh,
much. Yeah.
I was thinking, I guess, like with the situation going on and things are just, like you said, they're like long and
Yeah.
people are just getting weird. We're seeing like protests and a lot of dumb shit going on out there. I was thinking of it more of like a satire comedy kind of
Ah,
thing.
okay.
And I was feeling, I was thinking like Edgar Wright, the guy who does like Hot Fuzz
Yeah,
and all
yeah.
those movies. So
Now,
I
now,
was
would you get those two guys too?
yeah, exactly. So I was like, Simon Pegg would be like a great like Mike Pence. And Nick Frost would be like greatest Trump with like the right makeup. Like, you know what I mean?
That would be awesome.
And I don't know, maybe like you throw in, a couple like, I don't know, some randos like Donnie Jr. could be like Shane McMahon or something. I don't know. Like
And then like Don Cheeto maybe, like just
yeah.
because you need like a
He's
bigger
a
name, but
yeah, he's like the token black guy in the whole situation or something. Yeah, like I don't know. I just think this could be like made as a comedy. If this
yeah.
wasn't real, like you know what I mean,
Yeah. There's a lot of serious stuff going on, but
and
that's
just throw in like the killer hornets just to make things even
yeah.
funnier.
Which, by the way, I got not that I got freaked out, but we had a bit of a wasp situation. Basically, the front door had like a little opening, so like literally there was a wasp that kept coming like in and out, and like I was outside, and I'm like, oh, he can't like get inside with the door how it's set up. And then I look, and he like literally came walking out of like the bottom of the front door because there's like an opening, and I was like, oh shit, like so
Oh,
yeah. Needless to say, we had to seal that up ASAP. So, but all good.
dude, wasp scared the shit out of me.
Yeah,
Was it the one that was like split into like three different body parts too?
uh,
Like it has like the
yeah, but it was like smaller at least, so it was
okay.
manageable. But every time it passed by, I was like, "Is it behind me? Is it behind me? Like, where is it? Where to
You,
go?"
you probably sent your cats after it, didn't you? You're
Well,
like attack.
I was like calling them near the door when we were like putting the little thing, the stuff, the door jam and stuff. I was like, "Yo, cats, come
Hell
here!"
yeah.
Yeah,
You gotta go to work, man.
yeah, earn their keep. But
So more on this quarantine lifestyle. So I wanted to come up with some like pros and cons. Quick list. You want to go through like let's alternate. We'll do like one pro, one con.
yeah.
All right, you want to go what's one pro for you?
uh, getting swole, definitely.
Okay. Okay.
We spent a lot of time and effort for setting up the home gym, so really no excuse. And besides, like being bored, just go down there and just let's get it
Yeah,
going.
man.
Yeah.
I've been seeing the Instagram videos. You've been keeping up
Yes.
with the weights and stuff.
So definitely, the cardio is probably suffering a bit, but just
Who
no,
cares?
yeah, no rest in between. You're good. Yeah, that comes
Yeah.
back fairly quickly. So, what about
Yeah,
you?
you can build it up quick. I mean, you're at least working out, so
Yeah.
it'd be different if you weren't. So for me, I did not seeing coworkers as
Well, if we
as
were
a
gonna go on the whole list, I got decent amount of pros actually.
well, yeah. I mean, there's definitely some pros. I mean, we're both fortunate enough where like me and Daniel are working from home,
Yeah,
so but like the big plus is like not seeing coworkers like communication's just a lot more direct.
yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot less like BS work. It's almost like work that needs to get done gets done. Everything else is like,
It's
don't
like,
talk to me. Like,
yeah, like situation, blah blah blah.
yeah, yeah. Like, don't come to me with some projects and shit. All right, so con for you.
Mainly just like the fatigue setting in. of like, we were still trying to go out and be responsible with social distancing and, wearing our mask in public places. But, we tried going to like a lake nearby, which was like never really that crowded. And then suddenly it's like packed. And I'm like, oh, well, I want to go out for a walk, but there's like dozens of people and people don't have masks and people are just getting too close, trying to hug you and shit.
Yeah.
So like definitely like not being able to do like some of that, or like going for a random walk in Kohl's at like 9 p.m. Or like going to GameStop to sell my Xbox for like the fifth time. Like can't do that stuff, but like it could be a lot worse. So it's
Yeah, that's I think the fatigue for me is like motivation. Like to your case, you got the home gym, but
yeah,
like I have not been running, or like I have like some weights here that like
yeah.
I'll like curl and shoulder press, and like that's about it. But like I'm just like, do I want to run or like not
Well,
really?
yes, well, especially since races have all kind of been like canceled or postponed. Like I had my ultra that was supposed to be, I think, the end of this month, May something, that was pushed back to like June 20th or something. They're like, oh, you can still run this race if you want. I'm like, well, like I don't know, like I haven't been running at all. Like I'm not gonna be like, it's my first ultra like in a trail,
Yeah,
and then also I still don't know what's gonna go on. So,
I'm surprised they just moved it up like a couple weeks.
well, yeah, that was the last update, and then they said you could postpone it or get a refund. So I
Okay.
was like, just give me a refund because I don't know what I'm gonna be doing next year. Might be
Yeah, yeah,
doing another toughest mudder and trying to not, fail.
yeah. I mean, my marathon was supposed to be today.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, so that obviously isn't happening.
Now, could
So
you do it if it was today?
I think I could do it, but it wouldn't be
Be
pretty. It would be
rough.
bad. It would be
Yeah.
rough. I'd be hurting for sure. So I guess some just quick pros. Another one for you.
uh, Not having to deal with traffic, honestly, and gas. It's been
Yeah,
like
yeah,
great, like not having to drive on the roads. And like the few times it's been like, oh, look, there's a car outside. That's weird. Look, what's that guy doing on the road, man? Get out. No, but that's definitely been one of the pros for me, like majorly, is just not having to deal with that and just like spending more time at home with the cats and the wife.
yeah. I think spend more time at home. With the kids, it's nice because you get to see them. I was on paternity leave, and then it bled into this.
Yeah.
So my last day was February 6th
Oh,
of being
wow.
in, so I've been out of the
You've been
office for
in for
like
a
3.5
while.
months.
Yeah. That's
Um,
rough.
but it's like a pro and a con because like
Yeah.
daycare is closed, so it's like they don't give me a break. But uh, other pro though is like I guess I'm like friendlier with people around my neighborhood because I see them all
Yeah.
the fucking time now. Like
Yeah. It's like now you can't be like mean or distant because like you see them too often.
exactly because
Like,
everyone's like walking around or
like
outside because that's like the only thing to do.
yeah.
So
Well, some guy like gave me the good like, hey, good job, man. Keep it up. And I was like, all right, man, you too. Hey, great. Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah. It was pretty cool though. But
I think a major con for me is probably like diet and definitely like eating a
eating
lot.
out a lot.
Eating
Yeah.
well, no, just eating a lot.
Oh,
Like
okay.
because I'm home, so it's just like I'm always like eating,
Yeah.
and boozing a little bit more than here and
It's
there.
so funny because I was joking around with my wife before, like during this whole quarantine, we've gotten like kind of lame in a sense. I'm like, oh, we switched over to like non-alcoholic beer, which is pretty good. Like trying that out, like eating like a balanced diet, less red meat and stuff. And we're like, huh, become like old couple, kind of like it, And then getting
Yeah.
like swole too, so it's like a little weird, like.
Hey, I mean, you can go either way, right? Like you can go either direction. I went like one direction, you went the other one.
So,
So I've been like the opposite. Like I've been getting. It's actually weird because the grocery stores, they've been like selling less, like like tofu. Like I couldn't find like tofu
really?
anywhere,
Yeah,
like any supermarket. So I had to actually like buy like different types of cuts of meat, which like I
yeah,
normally wasn't. Like I bought brisket, like a pork fucking
yeah,
shoulder. Like I was just going crazy because I'm like, well, I can't buy like alternate things to fill me up. So,
yeah.
and the beans, I can only eat so many beans. So
Yeah, so many lentils.
yeah. So it's nice. I mean, I've been, eating meat more definitely now, which is weird because they say there's a meat shortage. I
Yeah,
mean,
but
I've been
not
needing
not not
plenty
in
of it.
the
I
not
mean,
in the Omar household.
not for me, man. Like, just taking advantage of what they're selling, I
Uh,
guess.
yeah, but I definitely will say like another con for me is just like the social aspect of it. Not to say like I was a super social person in general, but I do like miss like hanging out with you, like, and or just going out for a run and like randomly like giving a high five to someone or just talking to like a person and not having to get that awkward like don't get too close. But we're like I don't want to like outright just like say go away, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's
No,
definitely a
for sure.
little weird, but
Yeah, we had a social distance get together. You dropped off
yeah,
this headphone and this mic.
yeah. Which if you're listening, this will be on YouTube if it records well. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can if you want to see our beautiful faces, you can tune in there. OD stream.
Very
You
beautiful.
can
Thank you.
check out that sick channel art that yours truly made.
Oh, that was really nice, man.
if you
I
if
like
you
it.
if you can
I
guess
couldn't
the
tell if it
movie
was like,
referenced, let us know. You won't get
yeah.
anything, but yeah, we'll shout you
What are you
out. Yeah.
What are you talking about? You won't get
yeah,
it. Get a lovely letter written by Danny. So,
yeah. I'll write you a letter and shout you out.
should we get into the movie finally?
Oh, I thought that was it. But all right, yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, but yeah,
All
I
right, thanks for
gotta.
listening, guys.
Do you think like television has been good during
I
this?
haven't watched honestly.
Like,
It's been either Netflix or YouTube.
well, that's what I mean. Like, even streaming, like, you think what's out there is good? I'm having a
uh,
tough time like finding quality stuff.
yeah, I think I was kind of expecting it to be a lot better, or like get a lot of those like weird like oh we don't really want this, but special circumstances. Let's just like throw it out there and see who likes it. Um,
Yeah,
no, you get like Tiger King and
yeah. Like
some other
Tiger King's
shit.
been
Like I
the
don't
Tiger
know.
King. Tiger King's been like the best show, which is
Which
crazy, right?
yeah,
I mean, it was entertaining. It was
I didn't watch it,
ridiculous.
but
Yeah, it was ridiculous. But yeah, like, I mean, I saw. I've been trying to see some of the older stuff that like I never saw. Like it.
okay, yeah,
I saw like Baby Driver.
okay. Was it good
Finally,
or
yeah, I liked it. It was good.
okay?
It's
I'll check it out.
Edgar Wright did it.
Oh, okay, okay.
So
That's
that's why I
probably
was
why.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's why I was thinking. I was like, yeah, this type of theme would be perfect with this situation. But no, that movie was really good. But yeah, like I'm having a tough time. Like Last Kingdom just came out, which I like.
Yeah,
I
which
saw like 5
actually,
episodes.
well, I was gonna
Pretty good.
start checking it out, but then I just ended up watching the last two episodes of the previous season. I got a little teary eye when Uhtred talks to I already got forgets the guy's name, the king's name, when he's like,
I don't know, Ethel
sick.
something.
Yeah, no spoilers. But
Yeah, yeah,
Ethel Wad something.
Ethel.
But
Yeah, I saw Never Have I Ever. I saw that. It was good.
okay.
And the Jordan documentary is
Ooh,
to me right now the best thing on TV. But that's because
okay,
I'm
okay.
like a basketball homer, so
Yeah,
that doesn't help. So, but all right, let's get into the movie.
yeah. So
You want to give a summary?
yeah, so quick summary of the movie because even though, and it's funny too because Angel Has Fallen. I think I texted you saying like, hey, I was on the elliptical for an hour and 15 minutes. Movie's pretty good so far. Pretty fucking long. Got 50 more minutes. What the fuck? So yeah, for a movie that felt like both really short and really long, there wasn't much going on. Like it pretty much opens up with like Gerard Butler doing like the generic action scene, like not montage, but like going through the building, clearing it out. People are chasing him down. You could immediately tell it was like not real. It was either like a dream or a training session, and it ended up being a training session. Because like first of all, he he like shoots a bunch of guys. They don't show any blood.
And
Which
they do like the quick takes where it's
yeah,
like really fast, dark scenes.
yeah, and it's like every movie had like not bloody, but there's some blood and like neck snapping. None of that. So immediately something's going on. Yeah, and then Mike Banning is the main character, Gerard Butler. He goes through. He gets shot by his friend Wade Jennings at the end, and you're like, oh no! And then ends up being like a paintball gun. Like, haha, you got me. And then you find out, Mike Banning for whatever reason, I guess he was like hanging out with Wade. Wade Jennings is like what the private military like CEO of some
Yeah,
companies
some private
selling.
contractor, and they give like the whole, made up back. I love it when movies do this. Like it's
Oh
like
yeah.
the multiple sequels. They're like, yeah, we go way
Yeah,
back, and it's
way back. It's like never mentioned them once in the three movies that's supposed to take place in like every like 5 years or something. But it's funny because we initially saw this together like for a few minutes on Zoom, and and Omar was like, "Oh yeah, see if you can pick out the bad guy or whatever, or something like that." And I was like, immediately as soon as they introduced the guy who plays Wade Jennings, I'm like, "Oh, that's the guy who that's the bad guy." And then as the movie goes on, you just see like how much they just foreshadow that constantly.
oh yeah.
Like,
It was funny because we like Danny said, we watched that together. I had seen it first, and you like called everything though, because like we started the movie up. You're like, oh, let me guess, this is a training session. Like right when they like opened the movie up,
yeah.
and then he gets shot by Wade Jennings, and you're like, oh, you paused it. You're like, he's the bad guy, and they're gonna have some like dinner with the family later, and that's exactly what.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, man, I've seen so many movies. By no means was this original at any point besides like the character names, and like drones now because of the future. But but yeah, so they you find out it's all a training exercise, and Wade is like trying to like schmooze Mike because he might be set up for like the director of the Secret Service or something, right? Secret Service, I think it is, right?
uh,
Like he's runner up or something.
you know,
Mike Banning
for
is.
what you're saying.
Yeah, like Mike Banning was like runner up for director of the
Oh
Secret
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Service,
yeah. I'm
right? Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought you were
Uh,
saying Wade Jennings. Yeah, yeah,
oh
yeah.
no,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, Wade Jennings is like trying to get in there in his good graces and hey, think of me. Like if you need private military contracts, he's like, all right, like come over and have dinner with the family. I'm like, oh my god, like okay, big surprise, and
Shout out
then
to Mo.
yeah, oh yeah, then yeah. So he has dinner with or lunch maybe with the wife. I forget the name and the baby. Um, Girl, right? Little girl.
Yeah,
So
the baby.
yeah, Wade Jennings Wade is like, oh, you want a story about Mike? Mike's like, no, it's gonna be inappropriate. Meanwhile, it wasn't. It was just like basically Mike just went around and like intimidated a bunch of people to collect money to buy some guy a car who was like a cook when they served somewhere
Yeah,
in the
best
military.
fried chicken in Georgia.
Yeah, those Atlanta streets. But
Yeah,
yeah, basically just painting Mike as a good guy. That scene was stupid, just because it's like painting him as a good guy and just foreshadowing more. Like this guy's gonna betray him. Like
yeah,
that,
yeah,
that was really the purpose.
yeah. And the fact I mean, the betrayals in this movie.
Ah, so
I
like
mean, like they
so
weren't really
bad.
necessary, right? Like I'm like, why introduce this guy? Because it's not like they were making it like a surprise for the audience
Yeah,
either. Like
like it.
you knew right away, right? Like it's like,
But then it's funny too because I'm like you said, if they like maybe he was in the first movie and they were like friends or something, at least you have some sort of like connection. But I'm like, you're introducing this character who we've never seen, who they go way back apparently, and it's like, oh, he's gonna betray him. It's like why even like yeah, like you said, like why even introduce him and do the whole thing? Like just make him come back and he's like, wait, Jennings, that motherfucker, like
yeah, yeah,
like I
exactly.
served
Like
with him once.
just make him the private contractor for
Yeah, like
for the U.S. Like, oh, the private contract for the U.S. is like set up banning, right? Like the
yeah.
end. It's just like pointless filler, which
But
this movie has a lot of, I
yes,
think.
a ton. Yeah. So after that, foreshadow bad guy Mike Banning pretty much goes to talks to his wife about like, oh, he's not sure if he wants to take the director of the Secret Service position, even though he's probably going to be asked by the president Trumbull. And so they go to like the next scene, and Morgan Freeman or President Trumbull is like talking about some nonsense with Russia, like trying to keep it topical. And then President Trumbull is like, I've had enough of this right now, White House nonsense. His Morgan Freeman voice. Let's go fishing. It's like, okay, random. So yeah, the next scene is like they go pretty much they go to fishing in like a big lake with his, he brings his whole Secret Service detail. Mike Bannon's on the boat with him, and he pretty much tells him he doesn't want the position. And President Trumbull's like, no, 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 you want the position. You're
Yeah,
gonna take it. That's
yeah,
it. And then right after that, he's like, all right, maybe like I'll think about it. Thank you. and then he gets a headache because they foreshadowed a bit too. Gerard Butler suffering from like old man action disease,
Too
so it's
many
like,
action movies,
yeah, so
man.
it's like, headaches, pill addiction, has like some sort of trauma that's like inexplained but always been there for like
Yeah,
15 years.
but never affects someone who's like in the shit.
Well, not
Only when he's
until
like sitting
yeah,
around.
yeah, not until
Apparently,
he has a one-on-one fight with the boss of the movie, and he's like, "Oh no, like I can't see."
dude, that
Um,
was such a terrible fight scene.
I was gonna put that as worst fight scene, and I was like, I don't even want to include this as like a fight scene. It was that bad, but anyway. Um, so that happens, and then of course, Mike Banning tells one of his boys to like take over while he goes back to shore because he's not feeling well. He's has like a headache, and President Trumbull told him to like get the fuck out. So he hops over on a boat, starts driving away, and then you see a bunch of things in the distance after you saw some guys like touch a bunch of buttons in a van, and then a bunch of drones get shot out, and then first of all, I love how like most action movies suffer from this too, but like every single one of these has fallen movies suffer from it. Like the military, police, whatever law enforcement aspect is so like dumb and inefficient. Like
Yeah.
the one Secret Service guy was literally like, "Hey, are those bats?" And they're like flying like this, like they're like clearly like drones, or clearly like planes or missiles or something. And then
Only
Mike.
Gerard Butler knows. And it's funny. Like a couple of guys, I think they had like pistols, and they were like trying to shoot it.
Yeah, like I get it, but also my instinct would be like, all right, like I'm
Like
not gonna
take
hit that.
cover
Like
or
get the
something,
fuck out
right?
of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a bunch of guys that just, and then there were a few scenes which is like if you slow it down when everything's exploding, because these were drones that just like shoot down and like explode on everyone. So if you slow down some of the scenes, you can actually see some people either walk like running towards the explosions or just like going like and covering their head. And I'm like, this is so bad. And then of course, a bunch of drones go after Mike Banning, and he looks up and shoots him with his pistol. Doesn't hit any, like big surprise. And then they turn away because someone like they cut to the van, and the guy gets cancel Mike Banning, and his little face. So the drones get diverted and don't attack him. And
Yeah.
then they
Yeah.
go over to Morgan Freeman's boat, and then the Secret Service guy there, who Mike Banning, I guess, has a long history with because he was like, Todd, and then he throws President Trumbull into the water, and then the drones explode that boat and kill that guy.
Yeah. It's poor
And
Todd. I
then,
mean,
yeah, poor
I'm
Todd.
surprised they didn't give him a quick backstory. Also, like, oh
Yeah,
man,
they
all
served
three of us were in the military together.
in
Eating
one of the
fried
flashback
chicken.
scenes, just like Todd in the back, like. But yeah, so Mike Bannon swims over the President Trumbull, and then the drones are like circling them. He's like, all right, we need to go under, dive deep, and then they do that, and then the drones still go into the water and explode, and they knock them both into like unconscious, and then
knock him into the sequel.
yeah, and then President Trump, they both end up in the hospital. President Trumbull's in like a coma. Mike Banning's fucked up, but he eventually wakes up to some additional stupid scenes.
Yeah, we can just run through because that's pretty much the main plot. And then it's action scene. He escapes.
Yeah.
So, no, he gets escorted right by the.
So
they arrest him because apparently he got framed.
Yeah. So basically,
which we know, but they don't know.
It was so stupid too, because even like at one point, like Jada Pinkett Smith comes into the movie as generic FBI agent. Hey, all the evidence points to you. You're guilty. And he's like, what the? He says something. I forget. He says like, what the fuck is wrong with you, lady, or something? And I'm like, yeah, like what the fuck is wrong with you guys?
Yeah,
it's like you don't like this seems so easy as like a frame, I'm like, haven't you guys ever watched the movie? Like
it's like, do you think this guy's capable of like setting up a sick drone attack also?
Yeah.
Like, what evidence of his past history
and then
shows this?
Yeah, Jada Pinkett Smith's like I forget her name, and the FBI agent is just like interviewing
FBI agent Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yeah, FBI Jada is interviewing the wife. He's like, oh, maybe he wanted to make you guys well off, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure they're not like struggling though. He has like no motivation.
Did you see his house?
Oh,
in
it's
the beginning. It was
beautiful.
beautiful.
I'm like, this guy's not struggling.
There's
Like,
like floor to ceiling windows like throughout the whole house. It looked like the Bat Mansion from like it
so
was pretty
yeah,
nice.
so I would say what, like maybe 20 minutes worth of filler, and then they pretty much frame him. They sign in Vice President Kirby as the acting president, who's clearly the one of the bad guys. Uh,
Dude, so you see, this movie also suffers from something I call um, no one else in the film is a known actor besides
the,
the bad guy and the good guy. So
that's how I found out. Well, I didn't find out, but that's what I thought when I first saw Wade in the beginning. I was like, oh, he's the bad guy because he's clearly not going to be the other good guy. He wasn't on the front page, like the front
yeah,
trailer cover.
yeah.
You know, like,
Same thing with Kirby, right? It's like, oh wait, you cast someone who's like a known actor, like the guy he's like in Watchmen, the
yeah,
HBO show, and other stuff too. But it's like
yeah,
he's obviously the fucking bad guy. And like I think it was like one of the opening scenes when Morgan Freeman, who's now the president, which he
yeah,
was
yeah.
like the House Speaker in the previous movies.
Yeah, and then the guy
He's
died or
like,
something. I forgot.
yeah, he's like walking through. There's like a leak in the beginning because apparently they're like trying to get private contractors to like do some bullshit war
Military
with Russia or
plot,
something.
yeah, etc.
And Kirby's like, guys, we're not doing private contractors. He's
It
like,
is
these
like
guys
little like
aren't even
lisp.
foreign nationals. Like, no, these guys are foreign nationals. It's like they're not even American, most of them. And I'm
And I
like,
was
oh
like,
god, bad guy. Like,
yeah, yeah.
it's like who's leaking this?
And then the anonymous call to like Wade, and it's like the voice like modulator, and it's like, "Rrr, rrr, 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 I told you to kill him." And I'm like, clearly it's the VP.
Yeah,
Like
and
it's
then they
just
show him later in like the shadowy office, like doing it with a phone call. Like, I
yeah,
thought you were gonna kill Mike Banning. Like,
yeah.
oh
It
man.
was so yeah, it was pretty bad foreshadowing. Not like a big surprise because I don't think any of the movies were that good at that. So yeah, so he gets escorted to get, I guess, arraigned or whatever for the attempted assassination, even though they kept saying assassination, like the president was dead. But so yeah, the attempted assassination of him, and then he pretty much gets rescued by Wade Jennings' goons because they wanted to make it seem like he escaped and disappeared,
Yeah, but they were just gonna
which
kill him, I think, and like hide his body somewhere
yeah,
or
because
something.
in the one scene before he broke out, they like showed like a ditch kind of, which was like covered, I think, which I didn't see in the first time I saw it. But so yeah, they pretty much killed all the cops escorting him, and then Mike Banning does what he does best and fucks up four guys in a car, handcuffed, kills them all, and then kind of escapes from there. There's a big chase scene, but before that, he goes to like a gas station to call his wife, and
Oh
then
yeah,
the fucking
it's like the
the
high mountain
Highland
militia.
militia, yeah, which just it's one of those pointless scenes, but like pointless scenes that I wish was never there because it just reminds me like there's people out there probably like, let's get them boys. They even called him boy at one thing, like, and I was just
And
like,
they're like
oh,
loaded with some sick guns too,
oh yeah, the guy had
which
fucking
is
like
actual
called the
truth.
yeah the guy had one of the gun they use in like Call of Duty, like Warzone, but
Speaking of which, that's a major pro of this quarantine as well.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty Warzone,
Yeah, it is
a good game.
and we're getting better.
Yeah,
Which stay tuned. We'll be looking to stream that maybe on Twitch. We'll announce it on IG. That way, if anyone listening can tune in if you want to see us play Call of Duty for some reason. But
yeah, you never know.
yeah, so he fucks up the high top militia and then escapes in like one of the most boring escape scenes in a vehicle ever.
Yeah,
It was
that was. I actually wanted to like fast forward it. I was like, when's
I
this truck scene gonna end? Oh my god.
when I rewatched, I was like, don't need to watch this scene. So it was pretty good. Yeah, it was awful. He takes an 18-wheeler from one of the militia guys and basically just drives in the dark and evades the police for like 10 minutes and then crashes.
Pretty
Um,
badly too. Like it's a barricade or goes flying.
yeah, and then they foreshadow like, oh man, there's potholes. Watch out in that street. It's not maintained. And then like just flips the 18-wheeler. Um, yeah, and then he makes it out. Apparently, he finds he goes into the woods of like Connecticut or something. I don't know. And
Are they still in? I was a little confused because
well, didn't they say they were in like
where was the
PA?
lake? Where was the lake? I don't even know. I don't know. I was a
Uh,
little all over because they were in PA when he made the phone call with the militia,
yeah, and then
and then I guess he was still in the woods in PA.
Yeah, but I
with
don't know where his
Nick
dad
Nolte.
ended up. Yeah, well, he's great. I don't know why he was in the movie, but um, yeah, his dad, Nick Nolte, he finds him in the woods because he's like estranged, but he's been keeping tabs on him just to like make sure he's alive. And then they team up. Wade finds out where they are, and he sends all his 20 goons or something to kill them. And then you find out like his dad's just been digging tunnels and traps and explosive traps and stuff.
Yeah,
Which
he literally blew up like 20 people, which was
yeah,
actually that was a funny scene though.
yeah.
I was
I
laughing during it.
I had a few weird feelings about him as like being in the movie in general. I was like, I don't really know why he was included, but I'm happy they include him because he provided like the only comedic relief throughout the whole movie because it wasn't really
Yeah,
that entertaining as far as like Olympus was funny because like it's Mike Banning with a bunch of one-liners and like, oh, they teach me to interrogate assholes like you, and then they start laughing at him. And then he just stabs the guy in the mouth, and he's like, oh, I'm rusty, like he had a bunch of funny one-liners and shit like that. This movie wasn't that funny, so I'm happy he
no,
was there to like provide some of that
yeah, and I
crazy
feel
old
like
man energy.
yeah, Nick Nolte, like the last few movies he's been in, he just plays like
Like
I guess
same guy.
himself. I don't know.
I
Just
appreciate it, man.
no,
But
like
but yeah, he was good at it. A little pointless, but he did like spice up the movie, thankfully. Uh, yeah. So he finds out, or Mike Banning finds out it's Salient Corporation or whatever the private military company is named. He finds the connection between Wade, and then he calls Wade up in one of his boys' cell phone, like, oh, what the fuck? Wade's like, oh, I'm just in it for the fix, man. We're lying.
we're
Arr,
lions,
arr. You know, I,
lion
yeah,
emoji, text
you know what
message.
it is, and then it's funny too because I had this whole idea for a little like video, which I may or may not do, but but yeah, it was basically they have the phone conversation, and then Mike Banning's like, don't worry about yeah, I'll give you your fix. Don't worry about finding me. I'm gonna find you, and then just hangs up. And then Wade like looks at his boy on the computers, and he's like, "There's my mic." And he looks over, and the guy just like looks like he's like one of those like you've seen the memes where it's like, and at this moment, that's when they knew he fucked up, and
Yeah.
it was like both of them just like looking down like that's my mic, and the one guy's like fuck, and then even like Wade looked like what did I do?
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so yeah, pretty much after that, a bunch of more filler scenes, and then Mike Bannon sends his dad to protect his wife, which they do because Wade sent some goons after her, and then Mike Bannon goes back to the hospital to rescue the president because he knows Wade's gonna go after him there because he never leaves a job unfinished, and then yeah, then ensues the hospital kind of escape scene, which just led to like the building across the street and the hospital being like half blown up. And then a
Yeah.
one-on-one fight in the roof. Not
Yeah.
before.
I was a little confused. Yeah, yeah. After the one-on-one, like the movie pretty much ends, I guess.
Yeah, and there's a scene in but there's a bunch of filler scenes, which is why I like actually forgot about it just now. But Jada Pinkett Smith goes over to Salient Corporation or whatever, and she's like, "We're gonna pull every thread that we got on this company. Let's go over there and pay him a visit." They go over there, which like led to the weirdest like just Wade comes out with his boy. And he's like, "So, what do you want?" He's like, "Oh, when was the last time you talked to Mike Vanning?" He's like, "You should know this." And she's like, I'll tell you what I know." And there's like some awkward silence for like 10 seconds. And then Wade just like kills all three FBI agents.
Yeah, even the pilot
Yeah,
from
that
the
pilot, man,
helicopter, he's
poor
like
pilot.
one shots him from across the
Yeah, it,
room.
it was a cool scene. But it was really fucking pointless. I don't
Yeah.
know what
Did you feel anything
for her like
dying?
dying. No, I
Yeah,
was
me
just like,
either. I was like,
huh, that was weird. Like that was literally my reaction. I was like, why, like why didn't you bring anyone else? And also, like, what was the purpose of going there? You clearly like didn't know, like what were you like? Oh, pulling threads, like. The dude's trying to kill the president. You think like just rolling up with like one of your boys who like looked confused half the time.
Ramirez, who
Yeah,
knew
like,
nothing.
yeah. Ramirez was confused the whole movie. He was like, hey, by the way, like when you have like a coworker who like asks you how to do their job, kind of thing.
Yes.
Like that's how he was. He was like, hey, so do you think he actually did it, or do you think like maybe we should get more evidence? I don't know, really. Just like they want, you know, like
Dude,
it
that's
was,
the worst coworker, man.
it was just so bad. So no, I didn't feel anything, unfortunately. But
Yeah, I mean, her whole storyline was pointless.
it's just weird because
I
she's
think
such a
that's what
good
it was.
actress. But it's like, why, like,
Yeah,
just to check, like,
just to add an extra 30 minutes to the movie,
pretty much.
pretty
This movie
much.
could have been an hour and 5 minutes, honestly. Yeah.
Well,
So
like I mean, if it was more like the first one, where it was just like, oh, these are the bad guys, like,
yeah, like
and ways to like knock them all out. Like,
yeah,
I would have been okay with like him getting set up and then
and
like him trying to clear his name, but they didn't need all that like Jada Pinkett Smith stuff. I would have liked to see like more action
yeah,
on
and
his end and stuff.
that was the
But
weird thing for like an action movie. There wasn't like a ton of action. It was good when it happened, but like it was just a lot of boring parts that could have been just not even like revised, just like taken out, and the movie would have made perfect sense. Like you take out the chase scene, you take out like the all the FBI scenes pretty much. Like, do you need the FBI to come in and tell you like we found stuff on the dark web and blah blah
yeah.
blah? Like, such not. I'm like, why are they using like made up terms and shit? Like, but
And here's
yeah,
another thing too. Like I was confused because wasn't the whole point of like I guess Kirby like taking over? I guess he wanted to like get a war going right with Russia,
yeah,
and then bring in the private contractors. I guess that was like part of the deal, right?
yeah, it was.
So why was like the private contractors just like literally going onto the streets in the U.S. gunning down people
Oh,
to kill the president if
well,
you're trying to get like a contract? Like,
yeah,
and
that was
yet you have like drones at your disposal.
well,
You know what I mean?
it's
Like,
so
would
stupid.
you be a
Yeah.
little more covert about this?
Well, that was the thing too. Like they could have just, if they already knew the route and everything, why attack the hospital? Like even though Mike Banning was like, no, we're gonna stay here, whatever. They had the plan to blow up the hospital. Like all they had to do is just post up, like they kind of did, but they didn't do that effectively, you know. And then,
Yeah,
but yeah, like you said, they but I do think they mentioned in the movie, Wade was like, oh, we're pulling the plug, like this has gone like a shit show, but we need to finish the contract anyway, or something like that. Which what the like, it's just so like stupid. Like I just don't know like what the point was and what his like motivations were. Like he seemed like he wanted to get back into the action, but then like most of the movie just seemed like he wanted Mike Manning to kill him. You know,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah. So when the movie was over, I was like, who made this movie? Because I'm
okay.
like, a lot of it just oh wait, hold on, I'm sorry. Well, what's his name? Do you have it? I can't even.
Oh, the guy who directed the movie, director Rick Roman Wall.
Yeah, so his last good movie was Snitch with The Rock in 2013 and Felon with Val Kilmer in 2008.
Ooh, nice,
So
nice.
once I saw that, I was like, all right, that makes sense. And it's weird though, because Olympus Has Fallen has like Antoine Fuqua. I butchered his name,
Yeah,
but he
yeah,
did
I
like
know.
Training Day. He's like
He's so good though. But
he's a
that and
pretty
that's
good. You know what I mean? Like, how
and
do you go from that to this?
and you know that's why
It's all about
sometimes
the
I
bills.
wish, yeah, and that's why sometimes I wish like certain directors would just like if there's gonna be a trilogy, just keep the same director on it if you can, kind of thing. I know it's not always possible, obviously, but you can definitely tell this was made by someone else,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. But
At least someone with like a little more I don't know, a little more pedigree, I guess.
yeah,
In this genre,
yeah, I think they
'cause
were just
it almost felt
confused.
like a direct to like DVD type movie to me.
Yeah, like
It had that feel for sure.
if yeah, it definitely felt like and I love like someone like Scott Adkins, but it felt like a Scott Adkins movie. Like you just send that shit right to Netflix, you know, throw him fighting some Asian people, and then you know it's like a guaranteed, you know, budget's like $3 million. You know it's gonna come back at like 20 million. You good, make another one, bang them
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
Um,
that's exactly what it felt like. And
yeah, a little bit, but just not that action heavy, which is weird. But
yeah, so where do you think this one ranks for you? Like, if rank all three, if you could. I'm just kind of curious.
like Olympus Has Fallen, number one. It's one of my favorite action movies of just like this kind of decade even. I just really love that movie. I thought it was well done. And like you mentioned too, like he had a mission. He's in the White House. Someone got the president in the bunker. Oh shit, they're going after the president's son. Rescue the president's son. Fuck up some guys on the way. Get him out. Go rescue the president. If he kills the president, kill that guy. Like
Yeah,
he had
yeah.
his mission and he threw in a bunch of one-liners. And and funnily enough, like he had to he was betrayed in that one too. I think everyone there's someone who betrays like the administration, because it was
Hmm.
like his boy, like another Secret Service guy that they had a bunch of history with apparently. And
Yeah,
he
of
just like
course.
knives him like in the top of the head after he like, you know.
Yeah, I think in was it Nick Nolte in this one says like, yeah, you got to pick better friends
Yeah,
because it's and I'm like, oh yeah,
kind of
that's true.
true though.
It is true. He always
Um,
gets betrayed.
yeah, and then so I would say Olympus Has Fallen, definitely number one. I might rank this number two just because like London Has Fallen was good, but it suffered from similar things as far as like just being like not like a lot of filler in a sense. But I don't know. I found it like slightly more entertaining than London Has Fallen, even though London Has Fallen I think had better action and better
Yeah,
like
yeah,
chemistry because he had the president with him like wandering around and shit, and he had to fight like generic terrorists. Um, but I don't know. This one like reminded me a little bit of like 24, and they had a similar plot where like private military at one point was like openly fighting like law enforcement, you know, and so it kind of like brought back some of those vibes. So maybe it might be nostalgia for me, but I would rank it number two, and then London as number three for me. What
yeah. I was in the same boat. One, I don't even think I saw London. We were just talking about it before. I'm like, I think I saw it. I'm pretty
about you?
sure I
So number
did, but
three until
it wasn't that good
uh,
from what I remember. And this one, whatever. Recency bias. I'm just putting it at number two, I guess.
yeah, I think it's in
But
uncertain times. It's
yeah,
in,
they're both bad anyways. So it's like,
yeah.
which
I,
one is worse at this point?
yeah, I would say if you're just like watching, if you haven't seen Olympus Has Fallen and you want to watch this, just watch Olympus Has Fallen and don't watch the other two. You're probably better off,
So
honestly.
in Olympus Has Fallen, it was Korean terrorists. London was Arab terrorists, and this
Yeah,
one is the contractor. So they
who
need
are
like I don't know what other group can they do? Russia, I guess.
I guess like I think the only other option is like, and we can. I think that's actually one of the questions later. But I think one of the only other options is like they have like an open war or something with someone, or like openly attacked by someone or something like that, where he like has to get back in it and makes a weird change for like, you know, has to like lead a group or show someone the ropes or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they could go like similar like Jack Ryan route, like that kind of story where they just send him to fucking South America and then he
So
becomes
he's
like
like,
this military stud.
yeah.
Like well, I mean, he is a military stud at least,
So it would work. Like they send them to like a thing where it's just a diplomatic meeting, and then it's
and then he's stuck there,
The
and
South
yeah,
Africans to get them and shit. You know.
yeah, there you go. That'd be perfect, and they could call it London Has Fallen.
Yeah, yeah. They're gonna have to come up with some more names, but I'm pretty sure you can find something to throw in front of them. Has fallen and be fine. So,
yeah, yeah.
but
So I think our next one we're gonna talk about Jada Pinkett's character, but we already did, so we could just skip over that.
yeah,
And the other one was, I guess, the plot, but we did that as also. So we'll just get to the best and worst scenes.
yeah. So
So
you go
best,
first. Yeah,
yeah. I had. Well, I'll give you. We only had like five questions, five
I've
five
seen.
topics. So so for this one, I put since there were so many of them, I guess I called it "You Can Tell the Future." Best foreshadowing. This one's for you, and I'll tell you what my best foreshadowing was.
Best foreshadowing. Where did I have that?
And we named a few in the summary, but
Best. So when
like most obvious or
yeah,
whatever one,
so
whatever you knew
number
right away.
one, when after Mike Bannon goes through the clear training exercise or dream sequence, the one guy comes up to him when he's talking to Wade Denny. He's like, "Yo, what the fuck, man? You kicked me down a flight of stairs." And he's like, "Hey, you know, if you don't train like it's the real thing, what's it matter?" Or some shit, you know, or something like that. And then, ironically enough, he's like one of the guys he kicked across the face in the car when he was escaping and killed him, and he like said it too, like, and that's what I like when he like pulled off the mask. He had the flashback moment, and he's like, "I told you to train like it was real, huh?" Or something like that. And I was like, that's the Mike Banning I like to see, those one-liners.
Yeah, yeah. You know, that was my number one too.
Oh, was it?
Like, cause when he came out, it's like, this is a train. You're like, you're dead. Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna die.
The one guy who shows like any animosity towards him is like, nope, he's gonna be in the bad guy attack and gonna get fucked up either one on one or like thrown off a building or something.
Yeah, yeah. And just for like sakes, I guess like my number two one was I mean I mentioned it was I mean there's a few, but the
Yeah,
VP Kirby just talking
that's
and
just
after the
perfect.
leak, I was just
Yeah,
like, all right, like all right, contractor gibberish. Like, okay,
yeah,
you're the mastermind behind all this. Like, you can kind of tell where the movie was going after that.
yeah. And another one too was the right right in the once Wade is talking to Mike Banning, like when they're in the patio having a drink and stuff after dinner, and he starts asking about like, oh, don't you miss it? That was what I want. I miss it, man, and blah blah blah, and this
It's
and
like I miss
that, and
kicking the shit with the guys. And
yeah, and he's like, oh, you think you're gonna take that position? I don't think so. Keep us in mind. And there's like that awkward silence, and I'm like, well, clearly he's got some where he's gonna attack someone or like it was I don't know, it was just a lot of foreshadowing. That was like not subtle at all, but
no, no, like basically the first 20 minutes of the movie, it just
foreshadow.
gave the whole plot of the movie
Yeah, essentially.
away without really doing anything else. All right, so best action scene. We'll do best and worst, so you go
Yes.
first.
So best action for me or best scene is one of them is the escape out of the car. Like I said, it's like it's what I think like Gerard Butler does best, like in general. Just be like an absolute unit and just like fuck guys up in close quarters. So I like that scene where he was rescued and then like had to escape from Wade's goons. That was really cool. Um, and then one of my worst, or one of the hilltop militia guys, and it was just I don't know, just a pointless scene just to like show these people exist, and like here's more plot device for like stealing an 18 wheeler, even though they could have just like omitted them and just had him steal a car and the
Yeah,
police
like
spot him.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that whole scene was bad, and the truck scene was terrible too.
Yeah, I
So
have that as one of my worst.
yeah, so best action scene for me, I like the end scene, not the fight, but like when they're all barricaded
The
and like
hospital like stuff. Yeah, I had that
yeah,
as
that
one
that was a really
too.
cool like shootout. That was actually probably like the biggest action scene of the movie,
and and
I
and
would
that's
say.
yeah, and that's where like it got for me at least good again, where it was like a long extended scene. It was like him clearing his name, the president giving him the okay, him finding out Wade's coming, him trying to figure out what's his next move, and then they turn on the gas. It's like, oh shit, we gotta move. Then they get ambushed, and then there's a random scene where a bunch of like police get shot down in a random hallway,
Oh
which is
yeah, yeah.
stupid. Worst
I forgot
scenes.
about that scene.
It was
Yeah, it
bad.
was like
So I saw it. I'm like, aren't these people trained? Like, why are they just like running around? Like, no one had a gun like pointed. No one like they were like, hey, they can't hear us on the radio. Yeah. So that whole scene was cool just because it was like a long, extended, had multi like layers to it, kind of. So that I have that one as one of my better scenes or
yeah.
best scenes or whatever.
Which led up to my worst scene, the
Which
the
one was that?
one-on-one fight where it just seemed like two old dudes just rolling around.
Like,
And
I don't.
that
Did you expect like what did you expect from that scene when you saw them like square up?
oh,
Like, were
I
you
knew it
like,
was
oh
gonna be
man, it's gonna
bad.
it's gonna be like
No,
raid 2 level shit, like one on one with the little like curved knives and just like
yeah, I knew it was gonna be bad. It reminded me a little bit of like like Commando,
yeah,
like Arnold versus Bennett. Like when they
yeah,
squared off, you're just like, this fight is going to be terrible
yeah,
because they're just like two guys
in
that
his
are like
tank
can
top
barely
chainmail,
move. Yeah, like they can barely move
fucking
in a fist fight. Like it's
yeah,
not going to be pretty. Like
yeah. That was pretty bad. Well, that was good. This one was bad. Because
yeah,
at
at
least
least
he
that
gets a
one had like
pipe through
loud
him.
fake punches and
But yeah. So that scene was pretty bad. I also have the FBI going to Salient's headquarters and just like I really feel like that 5 minutes, like I regret it. You know what I mean? Like you really try not to regret watching movies, but I'm like, like if that 5 minutes was taken out, this movie would still make perfect sense for what it was going for.
yeah, that was probably the worst scene of the movie.
It was so pointless. And I feel bad because I like her as an actress, like Jada, and But yeah, all her scenes are just like pointless, which is in no fault of her own because she did fine. It's just like, oh hey, be the annoying FBI agent that needs to like prove like he's guilty, which you know
He's guilty, but then he's not,
it just
and
made
then you're onto something, and then you're
yeah
dead.
most
uh,
inefficient law enforcement apparently.
so who's the better useless heel turn? Jennings or Kirby? Like, which one could you do like without?
Well, without definitely Kirby. Like
Yeah.
I still don't get why like I still don't get anything about him. Like first of all, how's he have so much money to like just pay like $10 million? Well, first of all, like a fake $10 million, but then also actually pay the private military people, I guess. Um
Yeah, I guess he was promised some like government funds or something.
yeah, and then the other thing too, it's like I'm just not sure why he was in the movie. His motivation, his short motivation was like, oh, you know, America's weak. We got to get back to being like strong and send them the Americans to fuck people up and blah blah blah. I'm Kirby, you know. And then there was that scene where they're like, he's like, no, 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 but we still got to sign the accord. Wait, let's do this. Let's go to war with Russia. And the one guy's like, yo, like you're
Like,
not
take it
like
easy,
president any
guy.
like relax. Like the president just woke up of a coma. Can you relax? He's like, no, no, I want to do this. Let's go to war. And I'm like, huh, it's a little odd. No one
Yeah,
picked that
yeah,
up.
yeah.
You know?
I think, yeah. I mean, it was pointless to have him because it would have just been better if they just had like the private military, I guess, doing everything and then kind of like manipulating the system, right?
Yeah,
I don't know. They didn't need the VP involved and
yeah. I
the
just don't know
fake
why.
voice
Yeah,
calls and shit.
the Bane voice modulator. I just don't know why like they need someone to betray someone all like in their movies, but then like a double betrayal. It's like both his friend and then someone in the administration that betrayed President Trump. I'm just like, probably you don't need that. You know, you can just have
Uh,
people that are dicks or like people that are like super smart and like it's not gonna make sense anyway. So just make them be like really smart and like throw out, you know, like you said, like overthrow the system and manipulate it.
yeah.
But
All right. So next one. Uh, if you could pick one character, who would you throw away? And the movie stays the same though. Like,
all
so
right,
I mean, like, no getting rid of like scenes that we talked about. Just like get rid of a character.
all right, Jada, of course, first. Um, the VP probably too, honestly, and I was gonna say the dad, but if it's just remove the character and keep the scene, there's a few scenes that wouldn't make absolutely no sense. If you like, imagine you just went to that like random cabin in the woods and no one was there, and like he was just like hanging out. So I'll
Oh,
keep the
hey,
dad
man.
in. So Jada
Uh,
and the VP definitely remove
you know,
them. Move to side.
so you forgot one person though. Uh,
Okay.
Ramirez.
Ah, damn. Well, no, because Ramirez, he would have been the guy that just goes to the
That,
like, let's pull these
instead of
strings,
Jada.
yeah. But yeah,
Dude,
no, I
if you want
agree.
to talk about like useless, because like Jada was useless, and then like Ramirez was like 10 times more useless.
I'm very curious. I don't know. It might be beyond my skill set right now, but I'm like really curious to see if you can pull out those characters, like keep the scenes going with the dialogue from Banning, whoever, and like keep the scenes going, but like just literally like take them out and take their audio out, like just remove Jada out and take her audio out and just keep the dialogue, like without her speaking. I wonder how it would look. I feel like it would be not that bad
It'd
actually.
be better.
It'd just be like awkward scenes of like, you know, where the VP's talking on that phone in the shadows. It's just like a picture of the Oval Office, like just in the shadows and no one there. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
I could see that. I might have to mess with that.
So I would call this the getting too old for this. What part of the movie, uh, besides all of it, did
Yeah,
Gerard Butler just look like old? Like, you know,
Mountain Militia, for sure.
no.
Yeah, even when they like he's on the phone and they're like, "Hey boy, why don't you put that phone down? Put your hands up." And he's like, and then the other guy came. He's like, and then the other guy came. He's like, "You are the keys in the truck." Like, and he just shoots him or almost shoots him in the foot at least. What
Yeah,
about
yeah.
you?
I had like every scene that he wasn't doing action in.
Okay,
Like,
yeah,
like the one scene where he's talking to like Wade in the beginning,
yeah.
and he's just like looks exhausted, and he's like flinching, doing the spastic. He's like, like I'm feeling back pains. And then the other one where he's like driving the truck, the pickup truck, and he just like falls asleep.
Oh
And
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, this is probably just him on a daily basis. It's not because he's like
He's suffering
hasn't
from old
slept.
from old action guy syndrome. He's just like tired and old.
Yeah, like he just looked kind of beat up in this movie. I don't know.
How old is
I
he?
hope
Is
that's
he?
like, I don't know if it's added makeup or something, but
I think it might. I hope. I don't know.
yeah, he
I'm
just.
curious how old he is though.
I think he's like 50 or something, right? I don't know.
So
You want to check it
quick.
out?
Yeah. 50. Yeah. Yeah. 1969.
Wow. So he's getting up there, I guess.
He's still got a nice like 17 years, 18 for star in movies.
So, yeah. All right. So, do you want to see more sequels? A show? So
No,
there was news. I found out that they have plans to make sequels and a TV show.
Oh,
Parts 4, 5, 6
that sounds
apparently is in
awful.
talks. I don't know if like Gerard Butler's like part of the future. I would imagine he would be because I
I
don't think he's doing anything else.
maybe as like that awesome like side character who like maybe has an action scene or two, but isn't the main character kind of thing. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like unless they want to do something like Lethal Weapon 4 type shit where it's like they're clearly two old guys that like, here comes was it Jet Li, I think, or something like that. Like here comes Jet Li to like fuck everyone up.
Yeah, I
And they have like
forget.
that fight scene on there. Is it Lethal Weapon? Yeah, Lethal Weapon.
Oh yeah, where they get like fucked up in the fight
Yeah,
scenes
he's like,
every fight
oh
scene.
yeah, and he's like, did he just dodge a bullet? It's like yeah, like I could see something like that where like they come in as like the grumpy old men that have to like fight the private militia or soldiers that are young. I don't know, but no.
Yeah, some nonsense.
My answer is no. I'd rather not see it. I didn't want to see this one after I saw it, but I was like, damn. I wish it was only Olympus Has Fallen and the other two didn't exist. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I think they should probably just stop or like reboot it down the road with like another big action guy, like in like 5-10 years or something.
Yeah.
But
They
I
could do like maybe a show with that concept with a
like
different
just
actor. Like,
yeah,
just I mean they could just do like Olympus Has Fallen the show, right? And season 1 could just be like the same thing but TV show version.
yeah,
I
I
don't
could
know.
see that
I
though.
don't know. Like
I don't know if they can do it with Jack Ryan and shit. Like I'm sure they could figure out a way.
yeah,
Like
exactly. I
throw
feel
some
like these
knots in the
ideas are
plot.
all the same.
Yeah, they
All the
just
same
need to
shit.
have better action scenes, I think, because they shine when you can let Gerard Butler be a big unit and just like snap people's necks and say like douche one-liners. Because in Olympus Has Fallen, he was intimidating as fuck. Even like in
Yeah.
the last scene, or one of the last scenes, he's like talking to the Korean mercenary guy, and he's like you could tell like the guy was like scared because he's like, oh, you're gonna die alone in there in that bunker, isolated. Oh, and I'm gonna leak a picture of your dead body to the press, just because I know you like that shit. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a little nervous, like that's kind of like that's some like someone who's fucked up says that, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, I like seeing that Gerard Butler in this kind of movie. Yeah, he was very just like old and grumpy, so they got to bring him back, bring the lion back.
Lion.
Oh god, like
Yeah, maybe
because
they'll.
I,
How many times did he say lion in this movie? He said it a couple times. I lost
I
track.
think like 9 times, something like that.
No, it's
Because every time he said three. He's like lions, lions, like lions, and I'm like, yo, okay, like you
it's like sweating and
do,
like
yeah.
foaming out of the mouth.
Oh
Like, oh,
god,
fried chicken and lions and Mo. Like, oh, all the good
fucking
things.
Mo MVP. Mo probably could have been Jada Pinkett's role and probably been good. Just like non-existent.
Oh
But
man. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much all we got for for the movie. I was gonna say show, but thank God
yeah,
it's not a show yet. But for
okay,
the
no,
movie,
no.
right now, I don't know what we're gonna do next episode. We'll probably do we'll figure it out as we go since we have plenty of time during this quarantine
Yeah,
to think of what we're gonna watch. Probably not Extraction. We'll
probably
probably
not.
pick something else.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit, just with the times, maybe like something zombie related. There was some funny, like, I think Daybreak is like a show on Netflix or a movie on Netflix with like some teenagers or something. But yeah, we'll check some stuff
I'll
out.
check
But
it out.
I don't know, I'm
There's
feeling.
there's been a lot of teen stuff like Outer Banks. I heard a lot of people watching that.
Uh,
I mean, I'm not gonna watch it, but
yeah, no, but
even like my dad, I think I was like, "Hey man, you been watching anything?" He's like, ""All American." On the
All
CW,
American.
it's on the CW, but it's on Netflix.
Is that a
It's like
football
about
show or
high
something?
school football
Oh, okay.
with like Tay Diggs.
Oh, geez.
I'm
All
like,
right.
really? He's like, yeah. He's like, I got nothing else to watch. So,
Well,
um,
you got something else to watch. To be fair, you got anything else, but I get it.
I
Yeah, but
mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's like sports related.
well, because yeah, it's not like you can watch like besides what UFC, you can't really watch much sports like new.
Yeah, my dad's not gonna watch Tiger King and shit. Like,
Yeah, I don't
it's
blame.
either
I don't want
like
to watch it. So,
he likes Ozark and like drug movies,
yeah,
drug
similar to my
related, like
dad. Yeah.
stuff like that, dumb action and apparently All American. So I don't
Okay. Yeah.
know.
Cool. Cool. Hey, I watch like My Hero, so it's like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
everyone has
Whatever.
their
I
taste.
gotta
But
finish Last Kingdom and then I don't know. I don't know what the hell I'm watching, but
yeah.
we'll see.
Oh yeah, we'll figure something out. Okay. But yeah, something like zombie or something. But those movies are
I'm
hard
down
too
with
because like
zombies.
it has to be like a lighthearted zombie movie because then I don't want it to get too real, and then it's like uncomfortable. But yeah, I'm down with like a zombie movie or something. But
All
we'll check
right.
it out.
Yeah, let's do it. Well, thanks for listening, everyone, and glad to be back.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
it feels good. Well, we'll hopefully took the rust off a little bit. Get back at it. And we're gonna look to put this up on YouTube as well. And if the video comes in well, we'll throw that in there too. Just way, like I said, you guys can see our beautiful faces and our beards. And yeah, follow us on Instagram at __ stream. YouTube is OD stream. You'll see that awesome channel art. You'll be able to find us pretty quickly. So, like, follow there and everything. And yeah, stay tuned. Come back with something new and exciting soon. Good to be back.
Yes, sir. All right, Danny.
All
It's
right.
a pleasure, man.
Yeah, always,
All
always.
right, Danny.